Welcome back to the channel Old Coins ValueDo's video, Coin Enthusiasts and Treasure Hunters, where we dive deep into the fascinating world of rare coins and hidden treasures. And in this episode, we're going to unravel the incredible story of the 1987 1-cent USA coin, a coin that normally is just worth its face value of a single penny, but in extremely rare cases can skyrocket to an unbelievable value of more than $21 million because of unique minting errors, mistakes, and oddities that set certain examples apart from the billions of other Lincoln cents minted in that year. And to understand why collectors, numismatists, and even investors in rare coins would go to such lengths to acquire one of these, we must explore in detail what makes error coins so extraordinary, how mint marks play a role, how small mistakes in the minting process can create history-making rarities, and why the 1987 cent stands out as a coin that seems ordinary but secretly holds the potential to be a life-changing discovery. So let's begin by considering the historical background of the 1987 penny, which features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse designed by Victor David Brenner and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse designed by Frank Gasparo, a coin that was produced by the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint in the hundreds of millions, making it appear common at first glance. But the real story lies in the microscopic details, the striking process, the die variations, and the mint mark placements which can create anomalies that collectors dream about. For instance, imagine a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile, date, or lettering appears doubled. Such dramatic errors are already highly prized in other years, like the famous 1955 double die penny. But if one were discovered on a 1987 cent, its rarity combined with the modern appeal would send shockwaves through the coin market. Similarly, mint mark errors can elevate value beyond imagination. And though the Philadelphia Mint coins in 1987 lacked a mint mark while Denver coins carried the D, if somehow a misplaced D mint mark appeared on a Philadelphia coin, or if the mint mark itself was struck in the wrong position, rotated, filled with metal, or even accidentally omitted in error cases, such a variation could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth tens of millions. And collectors speculate that the combination of die breaks, cracks, cuds, and even off center strikes can make certain 1987 pennies extraordinary. For example, an off-center strike of 5% or 10% might be interesting but not rare enough. However, an off-center strike of 50% or more with full date visible can bring significant value. And when compounded with other errors like planchet flaws, wrong metal composition, or dramatic die clashes, the resulting coin becomes a numismatic masterpiece. So why would one particular 1987 cent be valued at $21 million? Well, it comes down to the unique story each coin carries. Because when you have a coin struck on a wrong planchet, say on a dime or nickel blank, or perhaps struck on a foreign planchet that was accidentally fed into the press of the U.S. Mint, the resulting coin becomes a minting anomaly unlike anything else. And since only a handful of such coins, sometimes only a single specimen, can exist, collectors treat them like priceless artifacts. Auction houses compete to sell them, and millionaires and billionaires bid extraordinary sums just to claim ownership of history. And to dig deeper, we must consider the possibilities of transitional errors, like a coin struck in 1987 using leftover metal compositions from a prior year. For instance, although pennies since 1982 were made of copper-plated zinc, if somehow a pure copper planchet from earlier years was used in 1987, it would create a transitional error highly sought after by experts. And a coin like that, confirmed by metallurgical testing, could fetch astronomical prices at auction. Another exciting possibility is a broad strike error where the coin is struck without the retaining collar, causing it to expand beyond normal size, yet still displaying a full date and mint mark. Such coins are visually striking and become conversation pieces in collections. And if we add rarity to rarity, say a broad struck coin that also exhibits doubling or misaligned dies, then the combination would create a piece so unique it might never be replicated. And in the numismatic world, uniqueness translates directly into value. Now, beyond striking errors, there are repunched mint marks where the Denver D was hand-punched more than once, leading to overlapping impressions visible under magnification. some with dramatic separation that collectors pay high premiums for. And if such a dramatic repunched mint mark exists on a 1987 cent, particularly with other die anomalies, the value could escalate far beyond traditional pricing guides. In fact, auction results for other rare error coins have proven that passionate collectors will outbid each other into the millions just to secure one example. And if we imagine a situation where a perfect storm of errors occurred, such as a 1987 D penny struck on a copper planchet with a dramatic double die obverse and a repunched mint mark while being off-center, that coin would not just be rare, it would be unique, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. In the marketplace, uniqueness equals pricelessness. Now, skeptics may ask, why would anyone pay $21 million for a coin with a face value of 1 cent? But in reality, collectors don't just see metal, they see history, rarity, and storytelling. They see an artifact of human error within a massive industrial process, and they see the chance to own something no one else on Earth can possess. And throughout history, extraordinary sums have been paid for unique collectibles, from stamps to paintings to baseball cards. So a 1 cent coin commanding millions is not just possible, it's inevitable given the right combination of factors. Now let's consider die caps, where a coin sticks to the die and impresses its image multiple times into subsequent coins, creating a stretched or bottle cap shaped error. Die caps are dramatic and highly collectible, and if a 1987 penny exists in such a form, especially with clear date visibility, the numismatic world would go wild. Similarly, blockage errors where one coin impresses onto another in reverse mirror image are breathtaking and rare, and when tied to a specific date like 1987 with strong error market interest, their value skyrockets. Another factor driving the possibility of a $21 million 1987 cent is the role of provenance, meaning the story of ownership. If a unique error penny passes through famous collectors' hands or is featured in major auctions, its fame grows, and fame adds intangible value, sometimes far beyond logical pricing. So a coin with the right provenance could exceed all expectations. Additionally, we must consider how the rarity of 1,987 errors is compounded by the year's mintage numbers, because billions were struck, making normal examples extremely common. But paradoxically, the more common a coin in circulation, the rarer significant errors become, because catching them among billions is like finding a needle in a haystack. So the single verified dramatic error becomes a legendary rarity. Now imagine the coin market frenzy if tomorrow a 1987 cent with all these traits were authenticated by third-party grading services like PCGS or NGC, slabbed with a unique error designation, and put up for auction at Heritage or Stack's Bowers. The news would spread across numismatic forums, media outlets, and social platforms, and wealthy collectors would prepare their bids, pushing the hammer price from thousands into millions and potentially beyond 21 million, creating history. And that is exactly why discussions about the 1987 penny have fascinated collectors, because while most of them are common pocket change, a rare few contain the magic combination of errors and anomalies that elevate them into the realm of priceless treasures. So the next time you hold a 1987 penny in your hand, look closely at the details, examine the mint mark, the lettering, the alignment, the weight, the rim, and the composition. Because you never know if you might be holding not just a coin worth 1 cent, but a rare treasure worth millions, a coin that represents the unpredictability of the minting process, the passion of collectors, and the possibility that even the smallest objects in our pockets can hold unimaginable value. So keep searching, keep hunting, and who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to uncover a $21 million penny and make history in the fascinating world of coins. We dive deep into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of numismatics, the story of how a seemingly ordinary 2003 1 cent USA coin with a face value of just 1 cent could actually turn out to be worth as much as $23 million because of a variety of errors, minting mistakes, rare anomalies, and mysterious possibilities that make it one of the most unique treasures in coin collecting history. And as we begin this discussion, I want you to imagine finding a coin in your pocket change, a coin that most people would overlook or even toss into a jar. and realizing that hidden in that simple copper-coated zinc disc lies a fortune that could change your life forever. And what makes this particular 2003 1-cent coin so special is not only the fact that it is a modern issue, produced in huge numbers by the United States Mint, but also the strange, rare, and dramatic errors that occurred during its production, errors that slipped past inspection and entered circulation, making it one of the most desirable pieces for collectors and investors. And to understand why such a coin could ever be valued at an astronomical price like $23 million, we need to look at several factors, starting with mint mark errors, double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, cuts, broad strikes, wrong planchet strikes, transitional errors, and other varieties that occur during the minting process, each of which has the potential to transform an otherwise common penny into a multi-million-dollar rarity. And when we talk about the 2003 1-cent coin specifically, we know that billions were minted at Philadelphia and Denver, carrying the P and D mint marks, and San Francisco also produced proof issues with the S mint mark. But what excites collectors are the mistakes that occur when dies are misaligned, when letters are doubled, when mint marks are misplaced or repunched, or when coins are struck on the wrong type of metal planchet entirely. And for example, if a 2003 cent were accidentally struck on a leftover copper planchet from pre-1982 issues instead of the modern zinc-based planchet, the weight would be different and the value would immediately skyrocket. And in rare cases, such transitional errors have sold for enormous amounts at auction, and when combined with other striking anomalies, such as doubling in the date, doubling in the word liberty, or even a dramatic off-center strike that leaves parts of the design missing but the date still visible, we start to see how collectors could bid astronomical sums for such coins. And imagine the possibility of a 2003 cent struck with a double die obverse where Lincoln's profile appears shadowed or distorted, along with a repunched mint mark that shows traces of 2 or more impressions. And add to that the intrigue of a wrong planchet strike where the coin might have been struck on a dime blank, producing a thinner and lighter cent with a silvery appearance, and you start to understand why some of these coins are almost mythical in their rarity, because they represent accidents that should never have left the mint, yet somehow did. And because of that, their desirability among serious collectors and wealthy investors knows no bounds. And in the case of the legendary 2003 cent, supposedly valued at $23 million, what we're likely dealing with is an error so extreme and so unique that only one example exists, which is what drives the price to such an insane level, because rarity plus demand equals extraordinary value. And think of how coin collectors often chase after double dies like the famous 1955 double die cent or the 1969 double die, both of which fetch tens of thousands of dollars or more. And yet here we are with a 2003 cent that combines perhaps multiple types of errors, perhaps a double die, a mint mark error, a striking on a wrong planchet, and possibly even a die clash or a misaligned die strike all rolled into one. And such a coin becomes not just a piece of money, but a historical artifact, a conversation piece, and a trophy of numismatics that represents the height of rarity. And while most 2003 cents you will ever encounter are worth only a cent, the dream of finding that one incredible error is what keeps collectors searching through rolls, jars, and change from daily transactions, because the potential reward is so huge. And to break down why such errors matter, let us consider that the U.S. Mint produces coins at extraordinary speeds using massive presses that strike planchets at hundreds of coins per minute. And when something goes wrong, whether it's a die that is improperly engraved, a hubbing mistake that causes doubling, or a planchet feed issue that leads to off-center strikes, rare mistakes slip through. And since quality control cannot possibly catch every anomaly in billions of coins, a few make their way into the public's hands. And over time, collectors document, categorize, and value these errors, often creating intense bidding wars at auctions. And when an error is both visually dramatic and unique to a single surviving specimen, the sky's the limit in terms of value. And so, if a 2003 1-cent coin exists that exhibits multiple dramatic errors, its worth could indeed climb into the tens of millions, particularly if 2 wealthy collectors decide they absolutely must have it. And it is not unheard of for coins once thought to be ordinary to suddenly rise in value as new varieties are discovered, just as happened with the 1992 close AM cent, the 1999 wide AM cent, and many others where subtle design differences led to huge market values. And imagine if a 2003 cent displayed a completely different reverse design by mistake, such as a mule error where the obverse of a Lincoln cent was paired with the reverse of a Roosevelt dime or a Jefferson nickel, which would be unprecedented and utterly unique. Then the value could justifiably soar to the multi-million-dollar level. And furthermore, collectors always assign premium value to coins that are not only unique, but also have documented provenance, meaning their discovery, certification, and auction history are well recorded, which adds trust and legitimacy to their rarity. And if a major grading service like PCGS or NGC were to authenticate and encapsulate such a coin, labeling it as a one-of-a-kind mint error, that label alone would draw global attention from collectors and investors who see not just a coin, but an opportunity to own a piece of minting history unlike any other. And this is what makes the 2003 cent valued at $23 million such a fascinating story. Because while 99.999% of 2003 cents are common pocket change, the possibility of one extraordinary survivor with a perfect storm of errors fuels dreams and inspires countless people to search. And when you think about the psychology of collecting, it is about more than just value. It is about the thrill of the hunt, the discovery, the possibility that greatness could be hiding in your pocket right now. And if you found such a coin, the transformation for penny to $23 million would feel like a modern-day treasure hunt, proving that hidden gems still exist in the most ordinary places. And as you reflect on this, remember that every coin tells a story. Every error is a reminder of the human and mechanical imperfections in a process designed to be perfect. And it is these imperfections that become the most perfect opportunities for collectors. And so the story of the 2003 1-cent coin worth $23 million is not just about money. It is about history, rarity, chance, and the magic of discovering value where others see none. And as we continue exploring coins like this, the lesson is clear. Always check your change. Always study your coins carefully because you never know when you might hold history in your hand. A history worth far more than its face value. And in the case of the legendary 2003 cent, perhaps even enough to make you a multi-millionaire overnight.